Okay, so this is my example where I can load a text file and I can then draw stuff on my stage. This is done in OpenFrameworks and C++. And if we take a look at my text file here, I have some different variables. I have a background with RGB colors. I have a rectangle with a width and a height. Oh, with an X and a Y value, width and a height, some RGB values. I have a triangle, and for the triangle I need a XY point, a new XY point, and a third XY point, and 3 RGB values. I can also load an image with an image name, XY value, and then I can say how large I want my image when I resize it, and I can have an RGB values, and I can choose if I want to rotate it. Then I can have for example, a circle, and I can have no fill into the circle, and with a line width of 3. I can have an ellipse, another image, a sphere, um, again a rectangle with, for example, no fill in it. So if we look at how we do this, I have some different values. I have a string, which is called graphic type, which holds, for example, background, rectangle, triangle image. Then I have an image name, which can be bike.jpg or moon.jpg or some other name. Then I have some integers, which is my x and y values, and these are xy, width and height, red, green, blue, xy1 and xy2. This is for my triangle. Then I have a radius, which is for circles and spheres and ellipses. Then I have a line width and a rotate, and rotate is, for example, for my images, and line width is for my no fill and fill. Then I have an image called my image. So if we look at my CPP file, I have everything in my draw function here. First I use fstream. I include fstream, iostream and string. And I use fstream to load my file called file. And this variable opens off to data path from my whole path here, and that's a string. I could also just have written just the name, because it should be in the right location, but sometimes OpenFrameworks and Xcode are not working very well together, so I'm using the whole string just to be sure. Then I check if my file is not open, and then if it's not open, then I'll see out can't open file and exiting. And I will not actually exit the program, but it will just write it. And then to write my graphics, I have a do while loop, and this loop runs until end of file. And then it, reruns again, because it's a drawer which runs all the time. First I get my input, which is my graphic type. Then I check if my graphic type is equal to background, and if it is, then I'll load in RGB values, and these will be set in the background of background RGB. If we look at the text file here, we can see that we have a background, which is the first graphic type, and then we load in the R, the G, and the B. So if it's not graphic type, then we can check out the rectangle, and if it's a rectangle, we will load in X, Y, and H, and W, and RGB. And again, if we look at the text file here, we can see that we have a rectangle, we have the X value, Y value, width, a height and a width. Then we have a red, green, and a blue value. And then we set the color, and we draw our rectangle with off rect. And if we try a triangle, we have x value of x and y value of one of the points, x and y value of one of the other vertices, and x and y value of the third vertices. Then we have a red and a green and a blue value, and we set the color, and we draw the triangle. And, with our image, it's a bit special, because we need to load the image from our file. So we have the image name, the x and y value, the width and height, and the R, the GB, and the rotate value. First we set the color, then we load the image with the image name. If, for example, we wanted to use the whole path, we could say, for example, data slash plus, then it will be inside the folder called data and then the image name. But this will load. This knows where the folder is, so it will just load with the image name. Then we have some different ways to resize it. We can either use this resize where we put in a new width and a new height, and then it will be resized to that exact width and height that we plug in from our text file. This is a bit hard to if we want to keep the aspect ratio, so I'm doing that another way. I'm using my image.width, which takes the image width and then divide it with the width I put into my text file. So if we look at my text file here, we can see that I put it 5. That means the image width is divided with 5, and that's then the new width. And the same with my image height is also divided with 5, as for the height here. And then we use rotate, and here this is not an optimal way of rotating the image because it rotates 90 degrees at a time, and we rotate 90 degrees multiplied with the number that we input. Here it's 0, but if we look at our moon image down here, then it's actually 1, so it will rotate 1 time 90 degrees, so 90 degrees. And then we draw it at the x and y position. And then we use fill, no fill, and we take the function called of_no_fill, and this function, well, it removes everything inside the graphic except the edge, and then we set the then we load in the line width and set the set line width to the line width, so the edge is getting bigger. For example, here we have 3. That means that our circle's line width will be 3. And then we have fill, and we just use of_fill to fill it in again. Else all our graphic will be well, of_no_fill. Then we draw a circle. We load in the x, y value, the radius, and the RGB values. And we use set offset color and off circle with the x and y value and the radius. And again, if we look at our data file, we can see that our circle here has an x and a y and a radius and some RGB colors. And then we use an ellipse, and we have xy with height and RGB, and we load that in again and off ellipse. And then we have a sphere, and as with the circle, we have an x and y radius and an RGB. And this one runs all the time until the end of file, and then it will rerun itself because it's in the drawer. So let's take a look at this and run it. And here we can see, corresponding to our text file over here, that we have a background, and then we have a rectangle. It's over here. We have a triangle. Then we have our circle here with our line width of 3. And if we look at our rectangle with a line width of 5, it's over here. Here we have a resized image with called moon, which is tipped or rotated 90 degrees. And for example, if we want to make a new drawing, we can say run the rectangle, and we want it at the x value of, for example, 700, y value of 100. We want it to be lying down, so 200 and 200. Then we just take some random color, and then if we save the document, we can see that because our program is updating all the time, it will pop up here. And for example, if we want that with no fill, we can say no fill, then line width of 2, and then we can say fill below it, because then we know that it's just the subject. And we can see we have a nice rectangle. So this is my program here, and you can load in as many graphics that you want, and you can load in again and again, just using this same simple code. So that's basically it.